All right, let's go ahead and fire away, bud.
Okay, let's dive into the SEC championship game. First, Alabama versus Georgia. This will be played in Atlanta. As always, Georgia is favored by 2.5 in this game. There's speculation surrounding this game. If this goes really badly for Alabama, could this knock them out? I think at this point, you can kind of guess that Alabama is going to get in no matter what. And at the same time, there's been speculation, Cole, around Kalen DeBoer's future, the aforementioned Penn State job. Could he be just sticking around through the conference championship game to then potentially split? Rumors that he doesn't love it there. And then at the same time, Georgia has been kind of a hot knife through butter for most of this season, and they look like they're prepared to roll, but this should still be a pretty competitive game. What do you look at in this game as the X factor, the deciding factor in this game?
Well, let's start off with a couple of things that you said. Number one, Georgia is rolling at the right time. They feel like they are the most complete team in the SEC, and I think that most people wouldn't argue with you. It's just except when you face off against Alabama. Kirby Smart is 1-7 in his entire career, and he's 0-2 against Kalen DeBoer. So we have history on the side of Alabama going into Atlanta, a place that they've dominated when they faced off against Georgia, and they've probably been able to have the Bulldogs' number. Are we going to finally see change in that standpoint? Are we finally going to watch as this is the moment where Kirby playing against him, having not a bye week, which is something that's really big for Kalen DeBoer coming off of to be able to game plan. This is where it all comes together. The other thing is that how much did we learn from these two teams the first time they met at ground? Because remember, Alabama started off really hot in this game. Alabama was 8 of 8 on third down conversions. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead. They were able to gain a lot of traction when it came to the passing attack. Ty Simpson was phenomenal in the first half. And you go back to the last time that these two met up against each other in the regular season, it was more of the same. Alabama dominated with Jalen Milroe. Alabama dominated when it came to the passing game. Alabama did a lot of good things heading into halftime. But Georgia won the second half in both games. Now, last season, it was a complete and total comeback, and then you had Ryan Williams create basically a mass exodus of animal cruelty on a pair of Bulldog defenders. And then you look at this season, it was only 7-0, but it was 7-0 that eventually would have gone in favor of Georgia if you were able to hit on a few more plays. And Georgia quite literally had a few more drives that probably would have benefited them. So I think that what we're going to learn from these two teams is how much have they grown. On paper, it's very easy to say Georgia's grown. They feel more cohesive in the passing attack. They feel like that they have an identity in the ground game. They've been better on the defensive line. They're finishing drives. They're great in the secondary. They're able to look like more so what we've come accustomed to, like vintage Georgia. Like that's what we expect. And Alabama's kind of been reeling at the wrong time. And you could blame injuries. I mean, Ryan Williams is not at 100%. You don't have Josh Cuevas out there. Big time deal. But at the same time, you've also watched as the offensive line's taking a step back. The inability to run the football is very evident at this point in the season. Ty Simpson's not been great by any means whatsoever. He's been good, but not at the surgical level he was when he took on Alabama. Georgia back in week 5. So what are we going to see change? There's a couple of elements I'm looking at in this game. Number one, for Georgia, can you finish drives defensively? This is a team that has been known for years underneath Kirby Smart with how many players that they've sent off to the NFL. They're the best defensive line in college football. They're good at defending the run. They're good at pressure rates. Go back and watch the Texas game. Go back and watch the Georgia Tech game. They're able to make quarterbacks feel obsolete and rush throws. But when you look back at that Alabama game, part of the reason why Ty Simpson had all the time in the world was because they couldn't pressure him. They didn't give up a sack. They got one pressure the entire afternoon. So can they finish drives with an observation and with an opportunity to take down Alabama's offense and truly make them more one-dimensional than they already are, which is, hey, it's 3rd and 17. We got to go long. We got to end up throwing it down the field. And we got to get to guys like Latsier, Brooks, Isaiah Horton, and Jeremy Renard, because the two other weapons that we can trust, Josh Cuevas and Ryan Williams, they're either not playing or they're not at full capacity to where we can trust them. That's point number one. Number two that I'm looking at is, can Alabama do anything on the ground? At this point in the season, we don't know what's going to be the stats of Jam Miller for this game, but Daniel Hill is a serviceable running back. A.K. Deere is a serviceable running back, but doesn't really matter who's in the backfield. Neither one have been able to feel pretty confident in moving the sticks when it comes to their opportunities. And so that was something that I think Auburn did a really good job, like every team has done this season, making Alabama have to play one-dimensional. Can they do anything against this Georgia defensive line? Georgia held Texas to 1.2 2 yards a play? Can they hold Alabama to 2 yards a play, to a yard and a half a play? And then again, force Alabama, or can Alabama get 4 yards and it's 2nd and 6 and it allows you to open up the playbook a little bit more? The thing about Ryan Grubb that we remember from that game as well, there were a couple of trick plays that really caught Georgia off steam, like the pass to Caden Proctor, the deep shot down the field to Josh Cuevas, but instead the dump off to Jam Miller for the first down. Like, you got to get into your bag of elements. You got to do that also in the run game. Do you run some runarounds, some jet sweeps with Latsier Brooks or Rico Scott? What's going to be the case in that standpoint to feel very confident that you can kind of open up and feel more balanced in one of the areas that you think needs to be a strength? And the third thing is, the margin of error, I think, in this game has always been really small. Like, if you go back and you remember the 4th down fake punt with Justin Fields, that was when momentum shifted in favor of Alabama. You go back and remember that Georgia in 2012 with Aaron Murray was driving, but they ran out of timeouts and they couldn't get the clock off in time, and they were like at the 4-yard line. So the margin of error is really big. And it happened again in the game earlier this season, because remember, Tom, they had a touchdown pass to Taylor, the freshman wide receiver. He dropped it. The botch play with Cass Jones at running back, they botched it. The Ellis Robinson jumping on the pile for an extra 15 yards, they botched it. So are we going to see those minute errors for Georgia or for Alabama? Because both things can absolutely happen on either side. Are we going to see one of them make a critical mistake, whether it be a drop pass on a deep shot where nobody is covering you, mutt fumble, a really, really bad play design on 4th down, you go for it and you don't get the pickup, and now they're in their own territory, pushing towards the end zone. All the things like that go a long way, but it's Kirby, it's Kalen DeBoer. I think Kalen DeBoer is very happy at Alabama, and I don't think that he's leaving anytime soon. Don't tell Penn State fans that, but I'm telling you that I'll tell you that he seems very content in Tuscaloosa. And to be able to say that now you get a win in the SEC title in your 2nd season pretty much is the feather in the cap that you're the right guy to replace Nick Saban. And then on the flip side for Kirby, you finally get a win over Kalen DeBoer, a guy who is, let me remind everybody, 8-0 against Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning, Brian Kelly, and Steve Sarkisian. You got to feel pretty good about yourself that, hey, it's Georgia's time now to run the SEC. We're not sharing the title with Alabama. We don't care what's going on with Lane down in Baton Rouge. Steve Sarkisian, LOL with your comments about making the college football playoff. We know that we're a damn good team and we're supposed to be in charge. But it's always a great game. It's always one. I mean, I think it's like, what is it? 11 of the last 12 winners of the SEC have come from this matchup, these two. And it's elite football playing elite football. So we're going to be in for a great atmosphere no matter what.
Hey, I'll get right back to the video, but first I do want to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. Make sure that you are on the Sleeper app. We appreciate all of their support this football season. Use our code CFA for a 100% match up to $100. We will play the more or less game on Wednesday on the Power 2 live here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and don't miss it. Make sure that you've already deposited and you're already good to go. While you're doing holiday shopping for everybody else, make sure you're on the Sleeper app taking care of yourself too. Check their terms and conditions because terms of use do apply. But we appreciate Sleeper for their support.
I am curious to see what the over-under is in terms of how many times Lane Kiffin and LSU are mentioned during the broadcast. I'm sure that'll come up quite a bit considering it's going to be on ABC. But Alabama, and this one, as I mentioned, is the underdog by 2.5. There are some people speculating that they could get blown out in this game, but to the variance that you talked about with their offense, it just does feel inconsistent on when their playmakers really look like playmakers, whereas Georgia's been very, very consistent this entire season that even if they're behind, they just keep moving forward. It's a very steady march and a very steady clip. So I think I have a little bit more faith in Kirby Smart in Georgia entering this game than I do in Alabama, but I've seen this story before. I feel like this will be competitive. Our good buddy TJ Pittenger, who is not here, but the Double Fries No Slaw account is commenting here in our live chat. We encourage all of you to like this video. If you're watching us on X, like us on YouTube, watch there, drop in your comments. Our buddy TJ is picking Georgia 24-21 in this one. What do you think, Cole?
I got to see it. Listen, and this is not an Alabama homerism thing, and I know that people will go in the comments and say it's an Alabama homerism thing. I get it. I understand. Kirby Smart is 1-7 against Alabama. This is an Alabama problem for Kirby. It just is. And until you see consistently that you're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Crimson Tide on a neutral field, in Sanford, at Bryant Day Stadium, I'm rocking with Kalen DeBoer and company. And let's just call it as is. the College Football Playoff Committee is probably not going to leave you out of the playoff because they moved you up last night from 10 to 9. That way it almost guaranteed your spot. But don't want to leave that up to chance? Like, don't just want to say, hey, we're a lock to go on in because we won the conference title. Alabama's going to win this one 28-24.
I'm going with Georgia 27-20. I think they cover. I don't see this turning into a blowout, but I've been wrong before. So
I'll tell you what the good thing is, though. If you are an Alabama fan and you lose this game, you are going to at least see by our scores that you would go fall to number 10 or at worst number 11.
Yeah.
You were in the playoff.
I really don't expect them to get bumped out of this. I expect this to be competitive. Now, like if this is 41-3, then maybe you think about it, but even still, I don't think about it. I don't think you consider it all that long. Like if we're living in a world like we talked about earlier on this week, if a potentially 5-loss Duke team could make it into the college football playoff, side to side, you're not keeping a 3-loss Alabama out of the college football playoff at this point, having played in their championship game. So
no, there's a couple of scenarios where Alabama's left on out, but that's really going to be on the benefactor at BYU and what the hell happens in the ACC.
We'll get to more of the college football playoff committee's choices and hopes